What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You already know it is the 904 Strength Club, home of the strongest content coming out of Northeast Florida. Today I'm back with another one in the New Year's resolution series, and this one I would say is much more applicable across the board regardless of experience, but I'm going to do the opposite of what I did in my last video. My last video was about movements that beginners, for the most part, shouldn't do, and ways things to replace them with. Today I'm going to give you movements that beginners should learn to integrate into their training fairly early on, and I would say even people that are more experienced can reap a lot of benefits from integrating these movements early on. So, little history. I can remember watching Coach Dan John give a lecture on what he classified as the 6 fundamental movements for the human body. You know, this is just a very solid and simple paradigm to look at as far as addressing training needs. When you get into sport-specific training, this becomes a little less important, but when you're looking at things from both training people to be better on the field, we're not talking about strength athletes, we're talking about football players, basketball players, baseball players, as soccer players, as well as people that are using strength training in order to enrich their lives and become more physically competent. This is a great way to break down your training and to make sure that you are meeting all of these 6 needs. Now, as I go through, the first 4 are met in almost every single program available. If your program is worth doing, it's going to meet at least the first 4. It's the last 2 that I'm bringing you as movements that you can train fairly easily with very little additional time in the gym, but you will reap rewards from doing it and doing it consistently. So the first 4 movements that he gives are push, pull, squat, and hinge. Well, easy enough. Almost every program out there is going to have some sort of a push, bench press, overhead press, dips, barbell presses. You're going to have some sort of a press. So push is checked off. Pulls, you're going to have back work. You're going to have lat pull downs, rows, things like that. You're pulling. Squats, you should have some sort of a squat. And hinge, whether that be a deadlift or a kettlebell swing, you should have some sort of a hip hinge in there. It's the next 2 that I think are the ones that are most beneficial for people to really look at training, because a lot of different training programs don't address them. The first is loaded carries. Now, I would extend that just a little bit, and I would say loaded dynamic movement. Because in the same category, I think you have prowler pushes and prowler pulls. But farmer's carries, front-loaded carries, yoke carries, Zercher carries, any of these things are great training stimuli that you can easily implement into your training. It's very simple. Pick something up, walk a distance with it, set it down, turn around, pick it back up, walk back. How you hold it is going to change the stimulus a little bit. That's one of the other things, is you can constantly refresh this. You don't have to do farmer's carries every week. You can do farmer's carries one week, front-loaded carries another week, sled or prowler pushing another week, prowler pulls. You can do prowler push-pull on the same week. That's 3 different weeks that you can go through with 3 different training stimuli. And then you can even alternate the weight. You can have higher volume days where you do lower weight, and you can have lower volume days, which would, your volume here is the distance that you travel, where you do higher weight. So that's number 1, loaded dynamic movements. Very easy to execute. If nothing else, you can grab kettlebells or dumbbells and execute these and do farmer's walks with those. You can do them with plates, however you need to get it done. The next movement that he adds is groundwork. Now, what I would throw in as groundwork primarily comes down to burpee variations as well as Turkish get-ups. Both of these are killer movements. I can remember looking at, I think it was Pavel had a program called Simple and Sinister, which was 10 rounds of 10 kettlebell swings with a Turkish get-up after each round. Very simple, very effective training. A Turkish get-up is a full body trainer where you have to develop and maintain tension. It takes a lot of coordination, it takes a lot of concentration. It makes you a better athlete to do Turkish get-ups because of the movement through three-dimensional space under load. Does it make you stronger? Probably not so much stronger, but it makes you more coordinated and more able to execute movements in three-dimensional space. Burpees. If you're not doing burpees, and if you're just not going to do burpees, you know, bodybuilders are a different breed. I'll give them that. But if you're looking at enriching your life through, like I said, developing physical competence, through becoming a stronger and fitter individual, I know of no exercise that could potentially yield better value for the time that it would take you than burpees. You're going to get your heart rate up. You're going to burn fat. You are going to develop strength. You are going to move through three-dimensional space in a coordinated way. You are developing and firing on all cylinders. So, how do you add burpees into your training? I like to do EMOM. That's every minute on the minute. I pick a number of burpees that I'm going to do every minute on the minute, and then I just do them in rounds. Now, I like the Navy SEAL variation of the burpee, which is 3 push-ups as you go down, and then you get back up. So a lot of the time, what I like to do for burpees is I will do EMOM every minute on the minute. I will do 2 Navy SEALs, 2 pull-ups. Alternate them that way. I get a great push-pull workout in there. My heart rate gets up. I stay moving. And then I like throw a little jump rope and keep my heart rate going in between doing those. So that is a great way to incorporate burpees. Another way is just when you get up in the morning, bang them out. You can do so many an hour for so many hours. I've done that before. You can do so many during commercial breaks when you're sitting down watching TV in the evening. Just however you need to do it, set up a schedule and make it happen. How many should you start with? However many it takes. If you need to do 25, just do 5 rounds of 5. See how that feels. Stick with that for a week. When you do that, do 6 rounds of 5. If you need to do less, do less. If you need to do more, do more. Work your way up, progress through the number of burpees, because the only real thing that you do is you just add more value. But it is a great way to build overall confidence or competence in physical movement as well as strength. So those are the 2 movement patterns I think not just beginners, but everybody, broadly speaking, can benefit from, but especially beginners. Learning to incorporate these things fairly early on, making them a habit, is going to make you a healthier and more well-rounded individual athletically. All right, that's really it for this video. We'll see you on the next one.